guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Have a great song from Rush today. Just my own little personal tribute to Neil Peart, who we just lost last week. So it is a shock. I know it's a shock. You know, it's just like you can't find a bigger legend. So this is my little humble tribute. This is the only power I have in the world is to do guitar lessons on YouTube. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Red Barchetta. So it's obviously a great track, very popular track that I've yet to do. So we're going to crank into it. Before I do it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the little notification bell so you know when I release a new video. And please check out my Guitar Academy. It's at GuitarLessons365.com. Contains all my guitar courses covering a bunch of different topics, from technique to improvisation to ear training, guitar tone, lots of different styles, a whole beginner's course ready to go. So you can just jump right in. So hopefully you'll go over there and join the great community we already have going over there. So let's jump into this. We're in standard tuning here, and Alex Lifeson starts with some really cool little harmonic ideas. So that's the first pattern we're going to do. Now, a lot of people, me included, you can tell when I kind of get down here, I like to use one finger for harmonics. And they kind of find a nice flat spot on the tip of one of their fingers and just carry that one around to all the harmonics and make sure they stay nice and clean. Because when you're using different fingerings for them, it can get kind of dicey. But up here, it's a little bit easier. So I kind of switched to one finger down here. So just a little tip about the tip. All right, let's just move on. So we're going to start here with this. Open G, the harmonic at the 12th fret on the G string. And then you get the harmonic on the 7th fret on the A, then the 7th fret on the D, and then the 12th fret on the A. So those are the four harmonics, except they're played with a different rhythm the second time around. So we have this straight through. And then the second time through. So you can see that there's a little slightly different rhythm there. So you just kind of put those two rhythms together. Same four harmonics though. Repeat. Now, after you've done that, I don't know, 4 times or something, then we have this. Now, also, picking a little bit closer to the bridge helps the harmonics come out. So this first harmonic is at the 4th fret on the A. The 4th fret harmonics are generally not quite as strong as the 5th fret harmonics, so you got to really whack it. And then we have this 5th fret on the D and 5th fret on the G over the 7th fret on the D. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it. 7th fret on the D. And then you start over. Except this last note, instead of being at the 7th fret on the D, is going to be at the 7th fret on the B. So all together. So you notice it's in the same rhythm that these two are at. So it's kind of straight through the first time. Then a little bit different the second time. All right, now from there we get to these arpeggios that start the actual fretted notes that we have in the song. That also makes up the verse section. And you're usually going to see these played a little bit wrong. So there's a note in there that's hard to hear, but it's there, how he plays his arpeggios. So let me see if you can pick it up. So it sounds like this. All right, so that's going to be here, this, starting with the A. I'll show you where that little note is that most people get wrong. So I'm going to start with, it's an A sus4 chord. You can play it just like this with your, whatever note you want to use for that note on the 3rd fret on the B string, but a lot of times I use this, 3rd finger. So open A, 2nd fret on the D, 2nd fret on the G. So that's taking us to that top melody note. I'm sorry, the 3rd fret on the B string. Now the picking pattern is going to go to the G string, then the D, then the G again. So we have this so far. All right, now you're going to pick up that note on the B string, so you still have that bar going. Done with your index finger. So now the melody note's going to be on the 2nd fret. So you're going to pick that 2nd string, the B string, then the G, and then the D. So we have this. So we have, oh, sorry. One more time. Then you're going to put your finger back down that 3rd fret and kind of hold that note. And then we have back down to 2 on the B string. And then you're going to end it with playing the D, then the G. So with this. So this picking pattern is very consistent throughout the track. So there's nothing really random here. You just got to memorize that pattern. All right, now here, when we get to the next chord, is where you'll usually see it played a little bit differently. Basically, people keep doing it the same way, which is pretty much correct. And then they just change the bass note to this F sharp, like this. So basically just changing the bass note. But he doesn't play it exactly like that. What he does is he does a bar here at the 2nd fret. And the initial hit, start of the arpeggio, you hear that. There's that 2nd fret on the A string is in there. So he has that B in there, which adds a little bit of a dissonance to it. But when you have everything else with it, it sounds good. So he starts that and he lets that ring for the entire chord while he continues the picking pattern, because beyond that, the picking pattern is the same. So do a full bar at the 2nd fret, and then you're going to have your 2nd finger or 3rd finger, whatever, to play that note at the 3rd fret on the B. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick across from the A. It's that note on the A string, which sounds odd, I know, but if you slow it down, it's there. And he does it every time. So we have low E, then the A, then the D. So now from there, so that's going to make up for this that we did on the A. And then from there, everything is the exact same. So we're still kind of just, the rest of the arpeggio pattern is just those same 3 strings that we did before. So it was just that very beginning. So all together. All right, now, so that's, might be controversial to some people, but it is there. And then we're going to have this first, you're going to now just bar again with your index finger across the D, G, and the B string, the 2nd fret. We're going to change the bass note here to the 3rd fret there on the low E. And so basically it's going to be exactly like the first, that little, except instead of the open A string, it's going to be the 3rd fret on the low E string. And then everything else is exactly the same. So it's just that very first note that's different. So we have this. right? So really cool pattern, right? And then we're gonna move up here. To a D sus2 chord. So it's gonna be a bar at the 5th fret, and you're gonna have the 7th fret on the D and the G. So I'm picking there, I'm picking the A, D, G, B, G, D, G, or 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3. And then what you're going to do is move the note on the G string down to the 6th fret, play that, and then pick the 7th fret there on the D, and then we're going to do a little hammer on that, pick that 6th fret on the G again, hammer back onto that 7, over to the 5th fret on the B, and then back to the 7th fret there on the D. So the D note, it's on the G string. So with this. Start over. So really cool arpeggiated section there that we do for a little bit over the under the vocals, and then we get to this riff that happens at the 1 minute and 15-second mark. So I'm going to kick in some distortion because now we're going to rock out. Sounds like this. That's a fun riff right there. So what we're gonna do here is we'll play 3-2 on the A. And you're gonna start by just playing, now he plays like a full power chord here. When he's playing live. On the album, you really just kind of hear the low E string, but it's kind of good to hold the rest of the notes there just in case you actually hit more than that low E string. So we do that 3-2 on the A, and I do a bar at the 1st fret of with the index finger, hit that low E string, 1st fret, and then the open, the 1st fret there on the B and the high E. So with this. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna change it to the open E string. So with this. You hit that open E a couple times. And then another upstroke on those, the double stop at the 1st fret on the B and the high E. So like this. Then the open E again, then back to 1. Same double stops, open. So it's kind of a really cool rhythm. So you do that a few times. Open low E, and then we're gonna do a F bar chord and slide it up to the G. So repeat. All right, then we get to the 1 minute and 29-second mark, and we have this riff. All right, so that's gonna start, there's a lot of bend. Whenever you play the 3rd fret on the low E string here, it's gonna do a slow bend on it. Into an A power chord, then do that slow bend again to a D power chord. So this time it's just going to be the open D and the 2nd fret on the G. So the A power chord is open A and 2nd fret on the D. And then the D power chord is open D, second fret on the G. So we have this. So that is doing that bend, A power chord once, the bend, D power chord once, back to the A power chord once. And then when you go back and hit the D chord again, you're going to hit it twice. So like this. Then back to the bend, A power chord, D power chord, the bend, and then you're going to jump up and grab some triads. And that's going to be the G major triad here. So the 7th fret there on the G string, 8th fret on the B, and 7th fret on the high E. Move up 2 frets, and then play 10th fret there on the high E. Add that to it, and then back down to the regular triad shape. The A major. So we went from an A sus 4 to an A major. Repeat. All right, now at the 1 minute and 45 second mark, we have this riff. All right, so that's going to start with an F major chord with a C in the bass, so in second inversion. So we're going to have this 3rd fret on the A string, 3rd fret on the D as well. Then the 2nd fret there on the G, and then 1st fret on the B. Then you're going to take it to an F sus 2 by just lifting up the note that's on the G string to make it an open G. And then you're going to resolve that real quick to a C major chord. So like this. So it's just a 3-chord sequence. So you do that 3 times. And then we're going to do that F up to G thing again. And then we go back to the 3-chord sequence 3 more times. And that last time, you kind of slightly different rhythm. You're going to resolve it to that C. So after the 3rd time, resolve it to the C. And then you're going to hear it quickly, just that little... As soon as you hit that C, there's that the first harmonic pattern that we did at the intro. You'll hear that real quick, just this much of it. And then it's back. It goes straight to the verse section. Now, verse number 2 is the same arpeggiated picking little thing. But at the very end, instead of, when he does it, but on this second time through the riff here, when we get to this D part, it goes into like kind of a strum thing where he goes from that D sus 4 and then move the note down on the to the 6th fret there on the G. So just kind of strumming between the 2 chords. So that kind of builds us up there at the end of the verse when we do that little strum part. And you hit this open E string, and that takes us into the, I call it the bridge section. I call it like there's 2 bridge sections here. So this is at the 2 minute and 33 second mark. All right, so I'm kind of taking it when it goes near the second half of this, like a bridge number 2, or we're getting ready to go to. But that part right there, start again with this G major triad that we did earlier. So you play that, and then 4 palm muted hits on the low on the D string. Back to that G triad, and then 1 hit on the D, and then move up to the A power chord. Sorry, A triad. I'm sorry. Kind of do that same thing. Now go back down to the G. Then it goes G, A, and then to this D major triad, which is a barring at the 10th fret across the B and the high E, and then the 11th fret there on the G. Then back to the A, and then back to the G to start it over. So we had this. So you see that, you know, gotta know the rhythm and know the sound of the song when he goes back and hits that open D. But yeah. Let's repeat that. Now, when the vocals come in, he plays it slightly differently. So that little rhythm there, so that's gonna down up on the G triad, then once on the A, then up to the D. So it, and then back down to A, G. So it is. So this is when the vocals come in. Repeat that. And then the last time, we do this. When you get to that D, hold it, and then down to the A. And then we have at the 3-minute and 3-second mark, it's a complete change, and so I call it bridge number 2, because it doesn't happen again. It sounds like this. And that takes us to the solo. So we're just going to be playing as B flat major chord. So I like to borrow my pinky, but it's the 3rd fret there on the D, G, and the B, whatever finger you want to use. But the idea here is you're going to play the bass note, of course, the root note on the 1st fret of the A string, but also add the 5th of the chord in the bass. So that F there. So we're going to have the 1st fret across the A and the D together, A and the low E, sorry. So you play all those together and then resolve that to an F major chord. So B flat with F in the bass to an F major. So we just do that. And then take the same thing, just move it up 3 frets. So 4th fret. And then back to the 1st fret, and then the 4th. Now, take it to the 7th fret. And then 10. Back to 7. And then to 10. So when you go to the 10th fret the last time, when you resolve it to that D major chord, and then you go back to that G chord with the D in the bass, kind of hold that, and then it takes us to the A in the bass. Just hit an A power chord, which takes us into the solo, and I'll play through the solo for you right now. All right, so you know, pretty cool solo there. Got some really cool licks in it, and then it goes to a really cool riff. So, coming out of this, just hit an A, the A string if you want, just to let it ring, and then you can start the solo from there, which starts with this pentatonic lick. So we're gonna start 9-7 on the high E string, then 10-7 on the B. Then 9-6 on the G. So then we are from there. You're just gonna get down to that F sharp, which is the 9th fret on the A string, and then jump down here to the A note there at the 5th fret on the low E string. You pick that a couple times, and then you're gonna go up. All right, so I'll show you what's kind of going on the G string. You can't really do your own thing with it. It's just kind of messing around. So anyway, after you're playing this 5th fret on the low E, work your way up. Kind of hit that B twice at the 7th fret on the low E string. Then play 5-4-7 on the A string. So I'm sorry, yeah. So 4-5-7, then 4-6-7 on the D. And then what we do is we just play 4-6 on the G string. And then you can jump up to 7-9. And he plays it, you know, he's some like little pinch harmonics here, but it's just kind of just a, he plays that 7-9 and then into a bend to the 9th fret, and then as soon as he does that bend, jump up to the 9th fret and play 9-11. And do the same thing, just kind of pick 9-11, and then do a bend at the 11th fret. And it's kind of got a little pinch harmonic on the 11. So from this A, so from there, after you get that pinch harmonic at the 11th fret, do a quick little trill. Between 9, hammer 11, pull off to 9, then slide down to 9. And then play 9, 7, 6. And then you basically just go play between 6, 7, and 6 a couple times. And then you do a bend at the 7th fret, so with this. And then you're just gonna end it with, which is gonna be 7-6 on the G, and then 7 on the D, 7 on the A. So far. All right, from there. All right, so that's gonna slide into 7 on the D, then play 6-9 on the G. So with this. Then do that again. Over to 6 on the G, to 7 on the B. Pick that a few times. Back down to 6 on the G, then 7 on the D, back to 6 on the G, and then back to that 7 on the B. So from the just picking across that right there. And then we have this. So you do that little lick 3 times, which is going to be sliding into 9 on the D string, 7 on the G, and 10 on the B. Then we're going to slide into this B triad that we did earlier. And then to end it like that. So sliding into 11, then play 10 on the B, then the high E string. Then back to that 11 on the G, kind of let those ring. Let that ring a little bit. Then slide up to 12 on the G and play 12 on the high E with it. Then back to the 12 on the G, slide up to 14, and then play 14 on the high E. We'll let those notes kind of bleed together. All right, and then from there we get to this riff that just after the solo section sounds like this. It's at the 3-minute and 47-second mark. All right, so it's very similar to the riff that we did earlier, but we don't keep going to the very end of it. So we just basically start with the A power chord first. So that's instead of the bend, start with the A power chord. Then do the bend, then the D power chord, the bend, A power chord, and once again we go to the D power chord twice the second time. But then we just completely start over. So right back without doing the bend to that A power chord to start the riff over. So this is the riff. And then you start over. So the fourth time you kind of cut it in short, kind of half the length, and then just go up and grab that G power chord, slide into the A. You don't do the sus, just, and then it goes straight to the same arpeggiated verse. It does that there, so you go back to that riff which we already covered, and then back to that same riff which we've already covered, and then back into the regular power chord bendy riff. So you've seen that as well. And then after that, we get to kind of an extended part of this riff. So we do that same F to F sus2 to C 3-chord transition. You do it 3 times. So after the first ending of it, is going to be that F to G. And then the second time playing that, you're just going to resolve it on the C. Then you play the sequence one more time, this time ending it with an A power chord. All right, and that takes us really to the end of the track where we have the same harmonics that we did before, the same that we did in the intro, and the same ones down here. So we still have that, except now, as the track is fading out, we have another kind of non-harmonic little arpeggio sequence that happens. Sounds like this. So that's going to be the open G string, then the 2nd fret on the D, and then the 2nd fret on the G, and then the open A. So we have this. From there, we're going to hammer 4 to 5 on the A string, then play 4 on the D. Let these notes ring together. And then the open G string, and then back down to the 4th fret there on the D string. So we have this. When you start over, it makes it easier because you're going to start with the open G, which you can use to transition back down to the 2nd fret. All right, and the track just fades out from there. So it is obviously a classic. It is so fun to play. It's such great music, and it's just, Neil Peart, just such a legend. There's really no words to describe how much he meant to rock music, not only drummers, but just rock music fans in general. So that's probably why everybody is reacting so much to his really untimely passing. So this was a tribute for you, Neil. I hope I made you proud. And I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.